Hey guys, Miss Marcus here, and as you can see, we're doing some more Master League. Did you like that new intro? Nice and a little easy sort of intro. If you want to know what the music is in the intro, it's not a very long intro, it's only about 4 or 5 seconds long, but the music is by Donnie Willow. There's a link in the description below. It's a very good song as well, so that's all good to know. But anyway, in this episode today I have 3 matches for you as expected, as usual, and of course in the last episode we entered into the January transfer window, so of course every single match you're going to see from now on you've probably already seen before. It'll just be a reverse match of it. So for example, our first game of the season was away to Chelsea, now we're at home to Chelsea and stuff like that. And of course in this episode I actually have finally got back the audio, so all the people who, and a lot of people have been really complaining about the lack of audio, but now we're going to have some proper in-game audio, so you're going to hear the crowd and whatnot. But unfortunately I did not turn off Jim Beglin and John Champion when I recorded this, so they would be at the beginning of the audio, but I, of course, little clever editing technique, and took them out of it completely. So playing at St Mary's Stadium, of course, we're at home to Chelsea. Chelsea of course are quite close to the top of the table. I think they're 8 points behind me, and I'm on the same point total as Manchester United, I think 45, as you can see here. Of course, as you can hear the crowd in the background. They came out as really interesting because of course usually I thought that if you had Jim Beglin and John Champion turned on, they'd look at the teams beforehand, but of course they don't, as you can see here. Of course, the likes of Jack Cork, James Ward-Prowse actually started this game, as of course J. Rodriguez, Graziano Pella, and all those sort of players as you would expect. So as you see here, we of course kicked off the game. There's a little, as you saw, a little sort of pause and a sort of weirdness in terms of the brightness for whatever reason. I don't know why it did that, but basically the first minutes of the game, try and get down this left-hand side with J. Rodriguez, can't really get the ball to him, and unfortunately it goes out for, well, it basically doesn't really get anywhere. So in the 28th minute of the match here, Joel Campbell gets through on goal, gets a shot in, and he scores the goal past Thibaut, is Courtois in goal, or is it Petr Cech in goal? Can't really tell, but it doesn't really matter because he scores, gets a nice goal away, and that's actually, it looks like a Cech in goal because of his headgear. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because he scored the goal in the first minutes, in the first half of the match. It's a very good goal as well. But as we see here at the half-time mark, 1-0 to Southampton. Not too bad. We're doing all right in a game against quite a difficult opposition. Of course, Chelsea, the minute you stop the likes of Fabregas playing, well, Fabregas hardly even plays for them for whatever reason. The minute you stop the likes of Diego Costa going forward, and Eden Hazard and Willian and Oscar, you basically stop. Basically, the minute you stop their front four, you can more or less score into them relatively easily. But into basically the second half, and Oscar scores after a nice little ball through by Willian, and he equalises in the 50th minute of the match. He does his little heart celebration, which for whatever reason just makes no sense because technically that's trademarked by Gareth Bale. No, it's not. I'm just joking. But anyway, in here, Gardos gets his second yellow card of the match, literally coming in like halfway through the second half. It's a bad tackle from me, and I sort of expected it, and he got sent off. So with that sort of logic, Chelsea did get a couple more chances, as we see here, 72nd minute. They got a chance there, and it goes up for a corner kick, and from the resulting corner kick, I actually get the ball away from Fraser Forster. It's the most ridiculous sort of save I've ever seen in my life, and he saves it again the second time. That save, and what was he doing? He was diving forward, makes no sense at all. But into the last minutes of the match, as we see here, 4 minutes added on, Diego Costa nearly gets thrown goal, and really fortunately for me, I think Ryan Bertrand came back and kicked the ball away, and he cleared it. Instead of Diego Costa getting a nice easy finish in on the goal. Of course, Chelsea long throw in and all that sort of stuff, tried to long throw it in, all the while attempts to get his head to it, and Diego Costa nearly scores after some hesitance goalkeeping from what's his name, Fraser Forster, but fortunately for me, he saves it, and a 1-1 draw against Chelsea, not too bad. Again, we're near the top of the league. It doesn't really mean much for us because of the fact that, well, being top of the league doesn't really mean much at all. It's all about just winning those games. But Fraser Forster got the man of the match with a 6.5 rating, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, in these bits where I actually show the menu off, I can't have the audio because it has in-game music as licensed music. So of course here, as I'm showing you here, I went out and attempted to get a loan for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, of course, as a former Southampton player, I'm sure he'd be fine going on loan to the club, but it's actually quite realistic because I've actually checked how many times he's played this season. He's only played 4 games this season for Arsenal, and they were two in the FA Cup and one in the league and one in the Champions League. So I thought it's a realistic sort of transfer. It's not a straight up buy transfer, it's actually a loan, so it's a little bit more realistic in that sort of way. But of course, with Gardos being out for the game against Everton, as we see here, I brought in Luke Shaw, and Jose Font, of course, came in as well to be the the man to replace Gardos. Of course, Wanyama also came back in for Jack Cork. For every reason, I was playing Jack Cork quite a lot, and I sort of noticed that I needed Wanyama in there to try and stop them when they were getting forward, of course. But of course, as you saw there, Everton at their centre-back had Daniel van Buiten, the former Bayern Munich player, is playing for Everton. That's quite interesting, to be honest, because people always say unrealistic transfers happen all the time in this game. That's not even unrealistic, that's quite realistic actually, Van Buiten moving to Everton. But again, of course, another home game for us, again against a team who I think we drew with 0-0 in the second game of the season, in the second episode of this Master League. So yeah, I mean, it's come a long way, considering that we're top of the table and we're not dominating in the league, of course, but we're doing alright in the league. But of course, we kick off because we're the home team. And fast forward to the 10th minute of the match here, as we see Coleman on the ball, playing the ball forward to McGeady. I didn't really do much defending in this game at all, as Lukaku gets played for on goal and just chips Fraser Forster nice and easily for him to score the opening goal of the game in the 10th minute of the match. And I was a bit pissed off because I was like, Fraser Forster, what the hell is he doing? Why is he so slow? But then I thought, well, I did bring him out, and it's sort of my fault that we didn't basically score from it. Well, that we didn't stop them scoring from it. But in the 38th minute here, Pella gets a shot away, and unfortunately for me, it pings off the crossbar and goes back into possession for Everton for their counter-attack, which came to nothing. But coming at the halfway mark here, as you can see here, Schneiderlin on the ball, tries to play the ball in accurately into J. Rodriguez, can't get to him, and Everton clear, and it goes 1-0 at half-time to Everton. So being beaten at home, which again isn't a very good thing. It's sort of all about trying to do our best in games like this when we're being beaten at home. And of course, we'd always try our best, because you have to try your best. If you don't try your best, and you're never going to succeed anywhere. So as you can see there, we've only had 3 shots, 1 on target. Our pass completion percentage was absolutely dreadful in comparison to Everton, who had dominated us on possession as well as shots on target. But into the start of the second half here, as you can see, Everton kicked off as expected, and literally within like 50 seconds, get the ball back with Tadic, plays a nice little through ball over to Graziano Pella, skins past Van Buiten, skins past Jagielka, skins past Coleman, and pops in the back of the net for his goal, for his like 15th goal of the season or whatever, because he's an absolute beast and a legend. And basically his celebration is just fantastic. I was actually going to make an intro with him doing that celebration, and I thought, nah, there's no point, I'll just do a normal intro. Hence why I picked a 4-second intro, which was quite cool. But anyway, going literally about 15 minutes later, Graziano Pella plays through J. Rodriguez on goal, and J. Rodriguez does what he does simply to his best really in general, and just pings it past the goalkeeper. It's not even a nice, like, really powerful shot, it's just a normal shot, nice little finesse shot into the bottom corner. But literally about 10 minutes later, the goalie makes quite a mistake here, and Tadic gets an opportunity to probably get the lead more forward, and again Pella gets another chance there as well. But it all sort of was going to hell. Like, I was sort of dominating them, but I wasn't getting the chances away. And then into the 90th, as you can see here, literally last minutes of the match, Wanyama sort of gives the ball away, and it gives him an opportunity to go forward with like about 2 minutes on the clock. He gets the ball to Christian Atsu, and he just sort of runs past Luke Shaw. Schneiderlin runs all the way back to try and stop him. And this is what you call some really, really poor defending from me. Okay, so I thought the ball goes out of play here. Does not go out of play. Doesn't go completely out of play. Really poor defending from Luke Shaw, or me as Luke Shaw. Comes at the Lukaku, and Lukaku pops in the back of the net in the last minutes of the match to get Everton probably what would be considered a deserved equaliser for them to get a point from this game. So I was a bit pissed off, because I was like, well, of course, you know, you don't really want to be conceding goals in the last minutes of the match. But then again, it was only losing 2 points rather than actually losing the whole game in general. But I was very disappointed that Wanyama, had given the ball away. So, of course, I could have probably hacked Atsu, but, I mean, as you can see there, they did have less shots than us in the end, and Lukaku got the man of the match. But we did probably, maybe deserve to win. But I would take a draw against Everton anyway, considering that we did draw against them in the first game, well, the first time we faced them this season. So going into the last game of this episode, it is against Leicester City, well, Nigel Pearson's Leicester City. Big Esteban Cambiasso in midfield, Matthew Upson at the back, again Kasper Schmeichel in goal, and Timu Pukki and Chris Wood up front. So Pukki and Wood is quite a good player. Pukki is the former Celtic player who's actually quite good in this game, which is quite weird because I don't really rate him in real life. I mean, I'm not even a Celtic fan, I just don't think he's particularly that impressive. But anyway, game against Leicester, of course, being the last game of this episode, you'd expect it to be filled with goals. It'd be a game like Burnley where I destroy them or something like that. But no, this game was the most frustrating game of football I've ever played. So Leicester must be using some sort of long grass, because they played, no, short grass, sorry, because they played a lot of low balls. No, long grass, sorry, because they played a lot of long balls forward in this game. A lot of long balls. Balls which didn't really stay on the ground at all. And in the first minutes of the match here, Mark Albrighton skins past Ryan Bertrand completely, gives the ball to Powell, who tries to get a shot away, and it comes out to Danny Simpson, who gives it back to Albrighton, and Albrighton doesn't even cross it in. I don't know what it is with this game and not crossing it in. Eventually Chris Wood gets a shot away, and Gardos clears it, clears it off Fraser Forster's back. Unfortunately for me, it goes to Joel Campbell. Literally fast forward to like 30 minutes from then, and literally nothing had happened until Joel Campbell had that shot. Like, literally this game was just a pain to play, and I don't remember why it was such a pain to play, but it's just Leicester were defending so adequately, and they were stopping me at every sort of opportunity they could possibly get when I was going forward anyway, and I was sort of stopping them. It was like a sort of cancelling out. But as you can see at the half-time sort of stats in general, they had more shots than me. Of course, the only shots on target were 2-2, and their pass completion percentage was slightly better than mine. But I mean, it was just, for whatever reason, was ridiculously hard to beat them. And in the 53rd minute there, I think Pukki should have probably scored there. But literally coming up into the 70th minute here on the match, as we see Graziano Pella skim past a couple players, gets a shot away, and it's a good save from Kasper Schmeichel. He doesn't actually drop the ball this time, which is a bit interesting as well. But literally, having just come back from his suspension, I end up getting another yellow card with Gardos, a second yellow card in this match. I didn't show you the first yellow card as usual, and he gets a second red card, which is absolutely ridiculous. Second red card in 3 matches. I just really don't like Gardos, do I? I always seem to hack with him, I don't know why, and it just happens. So basically a 0-0 against Leicester, not really the best result we could possibly have had. As you can see there, not much happened in the second half. We had 2 shots, 1 on target. They had 1 shot, 1 shot off target. Cambias got man of the match as well, which was a bit frustrating as well. So after United won 1-0 as well, we end up being 6 points behind Manchester United, 3 points clear of Man City, 5 points clear of Arsenal, and that wasn't really happy at all. But as we see here, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has joined up with the squad, so we've gotten our beast player to play that right midfield slot. So if you have enjoyed this video, subscribe my channel for more, and catch you later.